Welcome everyone to Tips for Organizing Google Drive. Today we're going to talk about some things that you may know about Google Drive and hopefully share some new knowledge about ways to save, move, add things to Google Drive, and maybe some keyboard tips to help you keep organized. So let's go ahead and get started. Here is a Google Drive. This happens to be my Google Drive, and you can see all kinds of folders already created in Google Drive. Over on the left-hand side is our new button that lets us create things that we can add here, and the navigation of how we find things in Drive. So we're going to start right here with my Drive. Everybody has seen their Drive, and if you click that little button next to where it says My Drive, you'll see all of the folders that you've created here. To create new folders, to add new folders, to upload new folders, we can do that in our New button. So once we have a whole bunch of stuff in our Google Drive, that's what we're going to talk about. What do we need to know about the ins and outs of Google Drive to keep us organized? So I'm going to open this folder right here. This is a folder within a folder, so know that you can create folders within folders. So I have a list of all of the documents here that are within that folder in my Google Drive. If I want to create a folder right here to start putting some of these files into, I can come up to the New button, click on Folder, and title the folder. And that folder is going to show up here at the top of the drive. Now to add things to folders, to add file types like my Excel documents or my sheets, I can select in Google Drive, using the Control key, I can select more than one thing, and then I can drag things around and start to move them into folders, which is a great way to keep yourself organized. However, we're going to talk about share settings today. If you have shared something with someone and you move it into a folder that is not shared with those people, then they may lose the ability to see things that you've shared with them. So keep that in mind. You don't want to move things out of a folder or put things into a folder that is not shared with the people who need to be able to see that information. So that's a big heads up. When I'm looking for something in my drive, you'll notice that I have a ton of folders here. So sometimes it's hard for me to find the things that I need because, if I'm looking for something and I'm like, okay, what folder did I put it into? And then to have folders within folders, it gets a little confusing. Up here is a great option for trying to find some things in your drive. Now, if you know what you're looking for, you can type in the exact words that will show you what you're looking for. So if I'm looking for my expense chart and I start to type that in, you'll notice that it pops up here. I can also hit the search button at this point, and it's going to, the search results will give me everything that match the results of what I've asked for in my search criteria. But that's not the only way to search. There's a little drop-down menu over here, and if I pull that drop-down menu down, instead of knowing exactly what I'm looking for, I can search in the entire Tomball Schools domain for anything that is searchable. Now we're going to talk about the share settings in just a minute. So some things you're not going to be able to find this way if the share settings don't allow for you to find it. But here I can start to narrow down the type of file that I want. So if I know I'm looking for a spreadsheet, then I can say, okay, find all the spreadsheets. Find all the spreadsheets that are owned by me. Find all the spreadsheets that are owned by anyone. Or I know I didn't create it, so the ones that are not owned by me. So in this case, I know I created this document, so I'm going to say, find all the spreadsheets that were owned by me. Notice you can also look for the date that it was modified if you know when you last worked on it. If you know part of the name, you can enter part of the name in this box where it says item name. Or if you know that somewhere in the file it says expense chart, you can put those words here. If you know you shared it with a particular person, you can say, find all the spreadsheets owned by me that I shared with someone. And then I can look for it anywhere in all of my starred documents, or if I think I may have deleted it, I can look for it in the trash. So now once I search here, I'm going to get all of the spreadsheets that are owned by me. And you'll notice that there are some forms in there too, and they give me the forms that are attached to spreadsheets that are owned by me. So that's a great little additional tool there. If I'm looking for all the PDFs that are owned by me. I can search that way, and then I get all my PDF results. So this is a great way to narrow some things down. So searching in Drive makes things a lot easier. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the share settings that I told you we were going to talk about. So I'm going to look for actually the text documents because those are easier to look at share settings. So let's say that I have this list of trainings that I did in 2015 and I want to share that. So right from Drive, I get the share button up here in the corner. It's the little person with the plus next to it. And my share settings come up. The default share setting is that this document is owned by whoever created it, and they can edit it, and they are the owner, and that anyone at Tomball ISD with the link to this document can view it. So there are things we can do in this box right here that can change our share settings. But what I like to do right away is just go to my advanced settings and just kind of see everything that's available to me. So I'm going to click on advanced, and then here is the link to share. If I want to share this document and send it to somebody and have them be able to view it, I can use this link. Right now they can only view it. So right here you'll notice that I am an owner of this document, and I have also shared it with myself in my personal Gmail, and the person that I shared it with can edit. Here I can change these edit views to say I want this person to be the owner. I can do that because I am the owner. Only the owner can change ownership. Then I can say I want people to be able to edit this document. I want them to be able to only comment on this document, or I want them to be able to only view the document. So I have those options with specific people that I share with. And I can share with specific people here in this box where it says invite people. So if I wanted to share this with my very good friend, Sarah Broughton, then I would put her name in here, and I can share it with her Tomball schools. And I recommend sharing with Tomball schools because then they're already logged into their Google account. If you share it with somebody at their Tomball ISD address, then they're going to get an email that says somebody has shared something with you. However, when they click on it, if they're not logged in, it's going to tell them that they don't have access to the document. So you can do both if you would like and share to both of those. And that way you know that eventually they're going to have to log into their Google account, their Tomball Schools Google account, to be able to open that document up. So I'm going to share this with her. Here it says notify people, and I can add a message. So if I want her to receive an email in her Gmail account, then I can add a message here saying, these are the trainings we did. And you can see I spell correctly things, right? So let's do spell check there. And so I can add that to her. Now, if I notify her here, it's going to send an email to her Gmail account, and she's going to get a Gmail that says that I shared this with her. I can uncheck that. I do not have to send emails to everybody that I share things with. And that's a really good thing because people share things with me a lot, and I don't always get an email, but when I look at the shared with me section of my Drive, I notice a lot of things have been shared with me. But I don't want to get an email every time about it. So that's just an option. And then right here, I can click OK to share with her. So I can add specific people to this list. But let's take a look again at anyone at Tomball ISD who has the link can view. We can change this also. Right now, if I take this link and I send it to each one of you who is watching this video, you would be able to click on that link and view my document. Maybe I don't want that to happen. Maybe when I click on change, I want this to be just a private document with only shared with the specific people that I choose. So I can click this radio button here. Then I have the default, which is this one, anyone at Tomball ISD with the link. Up here it says on for everybody in Tomball ISD. If I choose this option, then when I go up to the search box at the top of my Drive and I search Tomball ISD and I look for something that talks about fractions, then I will be able to find it because this link lets anybody in Tomball ISD find and view the documents that are created. If I want to put something on my Edlio page and I want parents to be able to open it and not have to worry about that whole logging into Tomball Schools account, this right here is the option I want, anyone with the link. That's going to allow my parents to click on the link on my Edlio page, and the documents that I have stored in my drive will open for them. So this is what I want to use when I want to have things that parents can access. And then I have the option to just say everybody on the web can find and search this. They don't have to edit or view it or edit or comment on it. They can only view it, but I can make it public on the web. So all of these options are available to you. So let's say that I choose anyone at Townball with the link, but I want anybody at Townball who I send the link to also be able to make changes or comment on the document. Down here in this section where it says access, right now people in Townball can only view, but I can change that also to those same 3 options that I have when I invite people. Can edit, can comment, can view. So if I want some comments about the document, if I'm sending this to a curriculum writing team or my PLC team, then I can say, okay, everybody, you get the link, you can comment on it, give me your comments and some feedback, and then I can save that. So I can change the access to the document, and I can change the type of access that people can have either with a link or make it public. Okay, so I can save that. Now, a new feature in the share settings is down here at the bottom where it says owner settings. Only the owner can set these. And the first one says prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. So if I were to invite Sarah Broughton to edit this document, and she is now in this list of people who can edit this document, then she can also invite someone to be part of this document. So let's say that we also want to put our really good friend Holly Moore on this document. So Sarah could invite people and type Holly Moore's email address in here and add her to this document. This button right here would prevent her from being able to do that. So if I check that, then nobody on this list can add anybody else. I am the only person who can add people to this document. The second option is disable the options to download, print, and copy for commenters and viewers. So if you have edit access, you can download a document, a file, you can print it, you can copy it. But if this over here says that you can only comment or view, and I check this button, then you would not be able to make a copy for yourself. You would not be able to go to File, make a copy of the document. You would not be able to download the document into a Word document or a PDF, and you would not be able to print the document, which is really great if you have something that you don't want anybody else to be able to make copies of. For example, if I have a study guide for my students and I send it to them electronically, then I don't want them to be able to download it, print it, or make copies of it. So I check this button, and then the students who receive the link cannot do any of that to make changes. So these are new features that have just recently been added, and they are great features if you're looking at changing the share settings. So these are all the share settings that are options for you when trying to share documents or sheets or slides or drawings or forms or anything in Google. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of all of the share settings. Okay, now let's say that, okay, I understand these are all my folders in Drive and I've organized myself and I know all about all the share settings, but what I really need help with is this whole shared with me section. So I need to keep track of some of these folders. Maybe some of these folders that have been shared with me I want to keep, and maybe some of the stuff, that people have shared with me I really don't want. So if there's something that someone has shared with you, let me come down here to just find a document. I get a lot of students who share things with me. Here's a student who has shared something with me right here. So let's say that I really don't want this. I don't need this. In the shared with me, it's okay if I delete something. It is not going to delete it for the person who made it. It is only going to delete it from my shared with me. So I can go ahead and delete this essay that Jessica wrote. I don't need it anymore. So now it's gone from my list of things that are in the shared with me folder. But let's say that Diane shared the Schools of the Future with me, and I really want to keep that and I want to start adding some of my own things to it. Well, you can't move anything from your drive into Shared with Me, but you can move things from the Shared with Me section into your Google Drive. And to do that, you have a couple of different options. If I wanted to, I could find a folder or just add things to my drive, and I can just grab the things in the Shared with Me and move them over to my drive and just drag and drop. That is an option. When I click one time on something in Drive, notice it turns blue. That means it's selected. I can also come up here to this button on my menu bar, which is Add to Drive, and I can click there and say add this to my drive. I should also have that option in these 3 lines. Nope, not there anymore. So the button that they've added to the menu bar will do that for me. So I can add that to my drive. Now, when I say add to my drive, right here it says I can organize it. When I click on organize, that is going to bring up the list of all of my folders, and I can say put it in this folder. If it's just something I want in my drive, I just click on add to drive and it's there. If I don't want to put it in a folder, I don't have to organize it. So I can move things from Shared with Me. When I move things from Shared with Me into my drive, it does not change the share settings for anybody who is already on this document. It's just me organizing myself. So and you'll notice that it still sits here in the Shared with Me. It's not going to go away. But I want you to be careful about that, because sometimes we think, okay, I've moved this over here and now it's in my drive, but here it is still sitting in the Shared with Me. So now I can delete it. Don't delete things that you put into your drive, that you add to your drive, because once you delete it here, it deletes it everywhere, even where you've put it in your drive. So delete the things you don't want, but leave the things you do want here and add the things you want to your drive that you want to keep forever, or at least for a little while. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't just confuse a bunch of people with that. Okay, so those are some of the do's and don'ts for moving files. Don't move files that you've shared with someone into another folder, because they will lose the ability to see that document. And don't delete things from Shared with Me that you've put into your drive thinking, oh, I've already put that in my drive, because it's still the same document. So you don't want to delete things that you want to be able to still see. Only delete the things in Shared with Me that you want to get rid of forever. So I have a couple of very quick shortcuts that I want to talk to you about when using Google Drive. So I'm going to come back over here to this document, because here they are right here. When you're in Google Drive and you click one time on a file, if you click N on the keyboard, you can rename it. So for example, let's go back to my drive. I want to rename this audio video permissions file. So I click on it, click N, and it brings up the renaming box. And so I can rename that way. I can also move selected items to a new folder by clicking Z on the keyboard. So if I want to move this audio video permissions to a folder, I can click Z, and it's going to bring up a list of all my folders. And so I can move things around. If I would like to star something, and when I star something, remember here are my starred items. So I used to, when I wanted to have all of my files that were particular to a unit of study that I was doing, I would put a star in my files. And so when I click on starred, I get everything that I'm going to use for my new unit. If I want to add stars to something, I can do that with an S. So I click on the file that I want to star, and I click S, and it puts a star next to it. Now I can also do that when I select something from the 3-line menu here, or the 3-dot menu. I can say add a star or remove a star. So if something is starred and you're like, oh, I don't know how that got there, you can remove the star here in the 3 dots. Next, I can add selected items to an additional folder. Now I really like this keyboard option right here. It's Shift Z. So let's say that I have this document in a folder already, but I want to also put it into another folder. So let's say that I have it in the upcoming staff development folder. I'm preparing for staff development, and I have it in the upcoming staff development folder, but I also want to put it into the folder that I have in my drive for audio and video permissions or audio and video directions. So if I do a Control Z, oh, I'm sorry, that's an undone. It is a Shift Z, not a Control Z. So if I say Shift Z, not Control, Shift Z, then I get a list of my drives shared with me and starred, and I can put this into an additional folder that I have somewhere and see it says add here. As soon as I click the folder, add here. So I can put remember, this is how Google works. The document is in the cloud and we just linked the one document. So now I'm going to have a link in several different places that will take me out to the same document, which I love to be able to put things in more than one place. It helps keep me organized. And then we have the Control Z, which is undo. So you'll notice when I did Control Z before, I lost my star. So let me add my star back by clicking the S, right? And then I've got my star there, star added to the file. Now a Control Z will take my star away. So it undoes the last thing that you did, a Control Z. And then if you want to start searching for something in your drive, if you're looking through your drive and you're like, okay, it was right here, I know it was. I was just working on it. Where did it go? I can't find it. You can hit the / button right underneath the question mark, and the search drive box will populate. And so you don't have to move your mouse up there. If you like using the keyboard, you hit that / and then you can start looking for the audio video permissions. And you're like, oh, I just had it. And then it pops up in there and you click on it and it will open right from here if I click on it from this search. So it'll open a new screen. Okay, so those are some really great keyboard shortcuts. Those are just a few that I wanted to share with you that kind of save us some time when we are navigating through our drive. Hopefully, you got some good information about navigating and organizing your drive that you'll be able to use. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. So please don't hesitate to contact your instructional technology specialist. We are here to help. Have a great day, everybody.